If you're a Celtics fan, I can promise you, you are in the right place. Go down, hit that big red sub button if you want Celtics rumors and Celtics news videos. If you're all about the C's, go down, help us get to 12,000 subs. You are watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Will Scott, and we're going to be talking about, on today's show, some trade rumors involving Donovan Mitchell. Now, whenever a high-profile player like Mitchell is up for grabs, teams like the Celtics, who are a contender, who have assets, are going to be linked to Mitchell. Here's the report from Woj yesterday that has taken the NBA world by storm. After previously shutting down inquiries on moving All-Star guard Donovan Mitchell, rival teams say the Utah Jazz are showing a willingness to listen on possible trade scenarios, sources tell ESPN. Now, the asking price for Mitchell appears to be steep, but in the wake of Utah's recent Rudy Gobert blockbuster deal, the Jazz are no longer simply dismissing calls on Mitchell. The Jazz are open to trades across the entire roster too, but Mitchell is certainly the organization's most valuable and coveted asset. So the Jazz traded Gobert to Minnesota, and since then, Donovan Mitchell trade rumors have very much been in the news. Woj just reported that the Jazz are opening to listening to offers on Mitchell. And keep in mind, the guy running things over in Utah is Danny Ainge, now the CEO of basketball operations in Utah after a long stint as the president of basketball operations in Boston. You got to think Brad might make a call to his old buddy Danny Ainge to check in on the asking price about Donovan Mitchell. Now, do you want to trade for Donovan Mitchell? Type T for trade or type P for pass. It's the pinned comment on today's video. Go down and reply when you get a second. Very interesting to follow kind of the recent developments about Mitchell. Maybe the Celtics would make a call and see what's going on in Utah. What is going on in Utah, in the words of Brian Windhorst? But I don't think trading for Mitchell is necessary if you are the Celtics. You are pretty much set minus a backup center. You have really solid offseason additions. You traded for Malcolm Brogdon. You signed Danilo Gallinari. I don't really know if you need Mitchell to win a championship. Now, if you can somehow trade for Mitchell without giving up, Brown, then yeah, maybe you consider it. But I think this roster right now is a championship roster with or without Donovan Mitchell. Like I said, I think the only thing they need is a backup center. If they go out and sign a guy like LaMarcus Aldridge or Hassan Whiteside, or even trade for, let's say Derek Favors, this is going to be a roster that is ready to win a championship next year, I think, back in the NBA Finals in 2023. Here's what Rob of MassLive said about Donovan Mitchell. The Celtics are not expected to have interest in dealing for Donovan Mitchell, per league sources, given the high price tag on their recent offseason moves. However, a number of Eastern Conference rivals are expected to make plays for Mitchell. That coming from Rob of MassLive.com, who is very, very much in the know with the Boston Celtics. However, I wouldn't be surprised if Brad made a call. Whenever there's a player like Mitchell, one of the best players in the league that's on the trade block, teams are going to call, right? And Brad Stevens is obviously very well connected with Danny Ainge. I bet you he calls. It might be a short conversation, but I guarantee you Brad Stevens is going to check in to see what's going on with Donovan Mitchell. I drew up this mock trade, what a Mitchell trade would look like. And keep in mind that the T-Wolves gave up 4 first-round picks, really 5 first-round picks, because they traded Walker Kessler as well, to get Rudy Gobert. So you have to think that Donovan Mitchell asking price would be even higher. So I think they'd have to give up 2 second-round picks next year, their second-round pick in 2024, their first-round picks from 2024 to 2027, which is 4 first-round picks, and then 2 young players in Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard. And to be honest, that might not even be enough for Mitchell. They might have to trade a guy like Brown, which there's no shot I'm trading Jaylen Brown in a Donovan Mitchell package. Who says no to this trade that I just drew up? Is it Boston or is it Utah? Type BOS for the Celtics or type UTA for the Jazz. Down in the comments section. Go down. Let me know what you think. Obviously, a big asking price for Mitchell. I don't even know if I would give up that much, but that's the absolute max that I'm giving up to get Mitchell. It's very enticing thinking about pairing him with Brogdon, Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. I think a Celtics trade is unlikely, honestly. I don't even think they're really a top 2 or 3 team in the mix here, but I just hope he stays away from New York, because if the Knicks get Mitchell, Knicks fans are going to be thinking they're back. Marshall Green, host of Knicks Now here at Chat Sports, is going to be jumping around saying, the Knicks are back. We don't want that as Celtics fans. We want Mitchell out of New York. So if Brad Stevens, if he has to make this trade just to keep Mitchell from going to the Knicks, do it, Brad. Here's what Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report said. New York would seem to be the clear front runner to land Mitchell. The Knicks' interest in the New York native has been obvious for a while, best illustrated this past spring when members of the front office attended Utah's opening games of the playoffs in Dallas. And after a series of trades beginning on draft night, the Knicks are now armed with 11 first-round picks in the next 7 drafts, plus intriguing young talent that could suit Utah's rebuild. That coming from Bleacher Report's Jake Fisher. Before we get into more about that, go down, get your Jason Tatum jersey right now. Chatsports.com/Tatum. It's a great deal we're giving you. Go down, take advantage of it. It's a fresh white Jason Tatum jersey. Go sport number 0 by getting your JT jersey. Chatsports.com/Tatum. That link going to be in the comments and the description. Let's talk about the Summer Celts, man. Another big win last night, taking down the Golden State Warriors. Kind of a finals revenge if you think the Celtics beating the Warriors this time around in the Summer League. It's wild. They were without Sam Hauser and Matt Ryan, but they still were able to come away with a win, defeating the Warriors last night in the Summer League. Final score 103-92. Mfiondu Kabengele continues to impress. My goodness, 20 points last night, another double-double. He really stepped up without some key players for the Celtics out there. And I know we've talked a lot about the Celtics needing a backup center and maybe trading for a guy like Favors or signing a guy like Aldridge. But my goodness, maybe Kabengele is that guy that can be in this Celtics rotation. Here's what he's done in the first 3 Summer League games. 16.3 points per game, 10 rebounds per game. He's averaging a double-double in the Summer League. That is not easy to do. 3.7 assists per game, 1.3 blocks per game. And when you're talking about Kabengele, you're not talking about a lot of other guys in the Summer League that don't have NBA experience. He's played in 51 career NBA games. Do you want Kabengele to make the Boston Celtics roster? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Go down, let me know what you think. Now, even if he makes the roster, they might still go out and trade or sign another center. But do you want him on this team based on what you've seen in his first 3 Summer League games? Go down, chime in. Here's what Tom Westerholm of Boston.com said about Kabengele. He looks like a real candidate to make the Celtics roster and was excellent again on Tuesday. 20 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists while affecting a lot of shots around the rim. Still, keep in mind something Brad Stevens said at the press conference for Malcolm Brogdon and Danilo Gallinari. The Celtics still plan to add another backup big to the roster. They already have Luke Kornet as a 4th big man, and the potential of playing Grant Williams as the small ball center in certain looks, and the big rotation could certainly get kind of jammed up. That coming from Tom Westerholm. I think it's more likely that Kabengele gets a 2-way contract. I can definitely see that happening, and I would love to see him on the Celtics, let's say half the time, see what he can do. And then if he goes out and performs well on the 2-way contract, then give him an NBA contract. I do not feel comfortable right now, even with what I've seen, giving him an NBA contract, letting him be the backup center. I'd feel more comfortable trading or signing a center right now. Here is the Summer League schedule. So 3 down, 2 to go. They play the Grizzlies tomorrow at 3:30, followed by their last Summer League game this weekend. They're 2-1. I believe still have an outside chance to make the Summer League championship game, but they need to win the next 2 and then get some help. Let's talk about what the next move for the Celtics could be, because Ime Udoka on the ESPN broadcast last night was asked about that. What could your team potentially do now. Here is what the Boston Celtics head coach said last night. We talked about adding another big, another possible wing. We're just monitoring everything we're doing here, taking a good look at our guys. Obviously, Sam has been signed already, talking about Hauser. For us, it's the best available wing possibly. You always like to add shooting, but another big will be a premium for sure. Let's talk about some possible targets here. Hassan Whiteside, my number one target for the C's. I want them to sign Whiteside. Aldridge also available. Jordan Clarkson, Derek Favors, potential trade candidates. And I know a lot of y'all, based on Monday's video, really want Jakob Poeltl in Boston. My goodness, that video is up to 35,000 views. Y'all are all about trading for Jakob Poeltl. Who do you want the Celtics to get? Go down in the comments section. Let me know. Is it Poeltl? Is it Whiteside? I think I saw a couple people in the comments yesterday in favor of a Derek Favors trade. No pun intended. We'll see what Brad Stevens, Ime Udoka, and the front office do. Going to be a lot of fun to watch in the coming days and weeks.